In Capital News tonight, President Samia Suluhu Hassan officially introduces herself to SADC heads of state. The Minister of Health orders the arrest of Kawe MP Bishop Josephat Gwajima following COVID-19 vaccine remarks. And in sports, Tanzania Tennis Association announces the new tennis national team coach ahead of the Davis Cup 2022. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has said that Malawi is the first country among the Southern African Development Community SADC member states to be led by a woman. That being included among other SADC heads of states will push more women to feel confident and get involved in decision-making organs. President Samia Suluhu Hassan said this today when addressing the 41st SADC summit in Malawi, where President of Malawi, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, has been handed over the chairmanship of SADC from Mozambique.
Senior dignitaries of state and government, as you are aware, this conference is taking place at a time when the world continues to be hit by the major pandemic COVID-19. This disease has disrupted health systems and claimed the lives of many people. And every day the numbers of new infections and deaths are increasing. The main way to deal with this disease is to make sure our people get vaccinated. We Swahili people say prevention is better than cure. Let me use this forum to thank health and development stakeholders for the vaccine aid they've given us. It helps us to reduce death from this disease. The demand for vaccine is huge and we must work hard at its availability and also to persuade vaccine companies to agree to issue permits and technologies to allow vaccines to be produced elsewhere in the world. Our countries must work together to build capacity for medicines and medical equipments.
We gather here with a shared sense of urgency to revitalize our economies. As we seek to do this, we must redouble our efforts in the areas where we can register quick gains. Chief among them is the fostering of an environment for the creation of jobs for young people across the region, which we must do as a matter of urgency. Toward that end, our convergence here must result in revitalized trade across our borders, enhanced industrial production within our border, and accelerated recovery of key sectors like tourism in the wake of the pandemic.
The SADC real-time gross settlement has lowered transaction costs and it has removed the need for correspondent bank. As of June 2021, a total of 83 participating banks from 15 SADC member states except the Comoros were electronically linked to effect cross-border payment and settlement in real time. And I believe that we have all seen the benefit of this system.
And the Minister of Agriculture, Professor Adolf Mkenda, said that the country currently has a surplus of 70,000 tons of sugar and that it will not provide any permits for sugar imports from outside the country, as local industries have the capacity to meet domestic demand.
There is no need of continuing to import sugar while we jeopardize sugar produced in the country. The whole value chain is demanding for opportunities in production of the commodity. We shall stay firm with the laws to ensure that no one will import sugar apart from sugar producers. Secondly, no one will import sugar while sugar productions are ongoing because we have sufficient sugar in the country.
Halafu tukatuma message kwa hawa financiers ambao wanatoa fedha kwa ajili ya kupanua Kilombero Sugar, kupanua Kagera Sugar, kwamba tunarudi tena kuingiza sukari holela hapa nchini.
Vitu kama hivi vinatoa hamasa Kwanza kwa wawekezaji wa ndani, lakini pili kwa wawekezaji wa nje.
Such moves influence investors, knowing that there is stable policy. Thus, we are grateful to Honorable President Samia Suluhu and the whole ministry in charge for the cooperation. I believe through this cooperation, our country will soon be sufficient of sugar produced in Tanzania, as well as getting the capacity of exporting the commodity.
Nchi yetu itaweza kujitosheleza kwa uzalishaji wa sukari.
Arusha Resident Magistrate Court, led by Senior Resident Magistrate Odira Amwaro, has approved the request by government prosecutors to make amendments to the indictment in the robbery case against former High District Commissioner Lengai Ole Sabaya and 2 co-accused after it misspelled the name of the first accused as Sayaba instead of Sabaya. Here's more.
The request was submitted by a group of state prosecutors led by Abdullah Chavula, according to Section 234, subsection 1 in the Criminal Offences Law. The request was strongly opposed by the first accuser's defense attorneys led by Daniel Ola, who told the court that they do not recognize the person listed in the legal claim, despite Lengai Ole Sabaya being found with a case to answer. The court shortly adjourned the case, and when it resumed, the senior magistrate approved the amendments. On Wednesday, August 18th, government prosecutors are expected to begin to cross-examine the first accused Lengai Ole Sabaya in the case number 105 of 2021.
The Ministry of Health, Community Development, Gender, the Elderly and Children, Dr. Dorothy Gwajima, has directed defense organs to arrest and question Kawe MP Bishop Josephat Gwajima on allegations that he is impeding her ministry and government's efforts in the fight against COVID-19, directed him to provide scientific evidence on his statements on the COVID-19 vaccine.
Inaelekeza majeshi yote ya polisi na TAKUKURU waende wakatumie sheria zao, wamuite awaeleze maana kwamba amesema pesa. Mimi Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Afya na Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania tumepigwa pesa, chanzo ziingie. Hata yeye anajua, alikuwa shahidi, alikuwa anatuchungulia, atutajie na aliyotupa na tulipokelea wapi na yeye alikuwa yuko wapi chini ya sheria ya TAKUKURU. Na leo nitasaini tamko langu, la sivyo tutaendelea kushezeana sana hii nchi.
And the government has said that through local Tanzanians, they have reached a good step in search of a Tanzanian-made coronavirus vaccine that will soon be able to register it.
Kuna watu ambao wanaweza kutengeneza chanjo wa Tanzania.
There are people who can make vaccines that are Tanzanians, so we have to be proud of them because they have reached a very good step and they have been registered by the Pan-African Clinical Trial website. Let's not see as if we are still lagging behind in education. We have experienced scientists. Probably what is missing is just equipment. But if we trust ourselves with our science, we will come to a good place.
Kama tulikubali ARV na leo sisi tunakubali ARV na ARV.
If we accepted ARVs, why are we in doubt about COVID-19? Our government has never rejected it. It's a matter of satisfaction after various processes. Then we received ARVs. Even COVID-19 has been received differently. Let us invest in self-knowledge. Many sins are because people have not been mentally and spiritually conscious. Instead, they have been the most emotional beings.
Jiwekeze kwenye elimu ya kujitambua na kubadili tabia, si ndio? Yes.
Consumers of domestic and industrial gas have complained of the drastic increase in price of the commodity, despite the Minister of Energy, Medet Kalemani's directive to Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, giving them 2 weeks to ensure gas prices are reduced to alleviate consumer complaints. The directive has not been implemented.
Bei imepanda kiasi kwamba kulingana na hali ya maisha ilivyo.
Prices have gone up from 19,000 to 21,000 shillings, while we do not know what caused the changes. We're calling on the government to intervene in this matter. As users, we're deeply affected by taxes and now there's prices.
Yani utofauti ni shilingi 3,000 nzima. Kuanzia mdogo na mkubwa zimepanda shilingi 3,000 nzima.
The difference is 3,000 shillings. Before it was 19,000 shillings gas cylinder, and now it is 21,000. And the cylinder of 30 kilograms before was sold by 48,000 shillings, now is sold at 51,000 shillings. Sales have gone down because of changes in prices.
Mauzo kwa sababu ya mabadiliko ya bei.
The U.S. Ambassador to Tanzania, Donald Wright, has inspected projects being implemented jointly between the USAID and the Iringa Water Supply and Sanitation Authority, IRWASA, and expressed satisfaction on implementation of the projects.
And I think one of the pillars of public health is having good, clean water that's easily accessible. And obviously your organization has done a good job. And I agree with you, there's more work yet to be done, but you've made some definite progress in your efforts to do that. And it's a privilege to be a part of that success. And I'm sure your community, the citizens of your community are thrilled with what they're seeing happen in the urban area and the peri-urban area.
Kupitia msaada huu wa watu wa Marekani, shirika USAID kama mlivyoona.
Through these supports, because IRWASA is striving to supply water in villages by up to 85%, this is a strategic project of reaching out to peripheral areas.
Ipo kimkakati zaidi inagusa maeneo ya pembezoni yale ambayo kidogo bado hayajafikiwa na huduma ya maji na watu bado wanapata shida kupata huduma ya maji.
Wildlife experts from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism, in collaboration with the International Conservation Institute, the Frankfurt Zoological Society from Germany, have begun an exercise to place identification tags using special communication equipment for rhinoceroses at Ngorongoro Valley as part of strategies to protect the endangered animals from poaching.
As you know, rhinos are the rarest animals in the world, so their protection is very important. And this rhino is packed with gadgets, and wherever he is, he will be seen. It will help reduce poaching and disappearance of rhinos and conflicts between villages and wild animals.
Moja kati ya malengo tuliyojiwekea ni kuhakikisha kwamba faru wote hapa nchini wanawekewa alama.
One of the goals is to mark all Tanzanian rhinos and to ensure that our rangers are able to track these rhinos.
Faru wa Tanzania, cha muhimu zaidi ni kuhakikisha kwamba askari wetu wana uwezo kuweza kuwafuatilia hao faru.
That's all for the national news. International news is next.
Are you ready for some great news? I'm Christine Mundwa.
And I am Eddie Micah Jr. with the brand new DW News Africa,
the show that tackles the issues shaping the continent.
Now with more time to offer an in-depth look at all the trends that matter to you.
What's making the headlines and what's behind them?
We're on the streets to give you in-depth reports and insights.
DW News Africa.
In international news, new government formation talks and evacuations are underway simultaneously as the Taliban seeks to reassure nervous people. Here's more.
Kabul remained tensely calm on Tuesday as the Taliban declared an amnesty across Afghanistan and urged women to join its government days after the armed group took over the country. The Taliban tried to reassure nervous people in the capital city, many of whom converged on the airport trying to flee the country, fearing more violence. Officials say the talks are aimed to bring another non-Taliban leaders into government that Taliban spokesman Suhail Shaheen has said will be an inclusive Afghan government.
Thousands of people in southern France have been evacuated as a wildfire rages near the plush resort of Saint-Tropez.
About 750 firefighters and water-dropping aircraft battled the blaze in difficult conditions with high temperatures and strong winds. France is the latest of the number of Mediterranean countries to be hit by extreme weather and wildfires, which climate scientists warn will become increasingly common because of man-made global warming. The fire department says the quickly spreading fire, which broke out on Monday, about 100 kilometers from the Mediterranean city Toulon, has already razed more than 3,500 hectares of forest and scrubland as of Tuesday morning.
And in Kenya, the leader of the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM party, Raila Odinga, has launched Azimio la Umoja, a strategic plan aimed at uniting the country ahead of the general election to be held on 9th August next year. Speaking in Nakuru County, Raila Odinga said the strategic plan aims to bring political inclusion, address insecurity, corruption, and revive the economy.
Tumekuja hapa Nakuru kutoa azimio kwa Wakenya kuambia kwamba kumepambauka. Jogoo shawika mara 3. Amkeni tuende kazi. Sawa sawa? Tunaanza azimio mpya. Azimio ya kuunganisha Wakenya wawe kama kitu kimoja.
And President Everest Ndayishimiye called on nationals who had fled the country during the 2015 political turmoil to return and build the country as the situation is now peaceful and stable.
I would like you to know that there are leaders who are not serving the country diligently, but I assure you that Burundi is a nation that will continue suffering from such leaders. Right now things have changed. And I'm calling on Burundians who have run away from home to come back, because a lot of things have changed and they are missing a lot of development opportunities.
The construction process for the Uganda-Tanzania crude oil pipeline project is progressing well 4 months after President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda and his Tanzania counterpart Samia Suluhu Hassan witnessed signing of agreements between the two governments and Total Company.
Mnavyofahamu, tumebeba mtoto tumboni ambaye ni lazima azaliwe akiwa hai katika muda ambao tunatarajia. Hatutarajii matatizo.
And that is all for the international news. Business News is next.
Meet business leaders and experts who keep you informed on business and economic developments taking place in the country, such as tourism, construction, energy, transport, mining, agriculture, communication, banking, real estate, and more. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m. only on Capital Television.
Welcome back in Business News. The government has assured residents in Rukwa region that construction of Kasanga port, which had been engulfed with water from Lake Tanganyika, will be completed in order to contribute to the economic development of the people and the region.
We want to open Sumbawanga economically, but there is a long-term government plan to complete Kasanga port to make sure we transfer produce to our neighborhood countries. So when you come to invest in Rukwa, you come very close to the SADC market. And other sectors as tourism have also begun to rise.
Salt producers along the shores of the Indian Ocean in Tanga region have been urged to look for opportunities in production of Artemia water species used for cleaning salt, as the prices are profitable in the international market.
Huyu kiumbe maji kwanza ana umuhimu mkubwa sana katika tasnia ya ukuzaji viumbe maji hasa ufugaji samaki.
This water creature is very important in the industry of water breeding, especially fish farming. In order to bring quality, it is a small creature and has a lot of protein compared to the other food that we're having. This creature is very precious because it's also available in the salty area. The purpose of having these stakeholders is first to show them the opportunity to not only produce salt, but there are also other products that are available.
Nikapata safari kwenda Mombasa, Kenya, tukakaa kwa muda siku 3 pale, tukajifunza zaidi, tukaona wenzetu wanafanya nini kule.
We have been lucky. We had the opportunity to learn in Kenya. It is an opportunity that the government has now put so much emphasis on so that we Tanzanians can benefit from. And it said that 1 kilogram is up to $150.
Councils in Mwanza region have been directed to look for new sources of revenue and improve revenue collection systems in order to increase the revenue.
Sisi kama TAMISEMI pamoja na
Yes, TAMISEMI and the RAS office still have a responsibility to ensure that the revenue collection systems are complete and remove all challenges which cause the destruction of income collection, but we also have responsibility to continue to improve the internal control system to remove income loss.
Katika kupima kwetu tuliona kwamba mapato yaliongezeka kwa 123%.
We have found that income have increased by 123%, but there are still a lot of challenges, and we also have a great potential to increase income, especially on service taxes. And that is why we have seen it's good to improve the revenue collection system.
Haja kuimarisha zaidi mifumo pamoja na processes zile za ukusanyaji wa mapato.
That's all for business news. Sports news is next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lendl.
And in sports, Tanzania Tennis Association has announced American Michael Ray Perales as the new national team coach ahead of the Davis Cup 2022.
I came here a few days back to work on a special tennis project here in Tanzania. So what we've done thus far is we started with a coaching certification course. It's endorsed by the Tanzania Tennis Federation as well as the Union of Professional Tennis. So it's an internationally recognized certification. And we started with the 10 and under tennis coaching course. The reason being is because I feel like that's the base and foundation where all coaches should begin in order to attract the younger players to the sport of tennis and also to retain them and engage them in the sport of tennis.
And Tanzania Football Federation is scheduled to run a search for young female football talents as the base of preparing a fresh under-17 team.
The TFF will run a training from August 20th to 22nd at 9 a.m. in the morning, with participants being girls who were born in 2007 and 2008. The main aim of this program is to obtain players who will be prepared for the under-17 national women's team that will later be groomed to become the senior team.
Barcelona's president Joan Laporta has described the departure of Lionel Messi as sad but necessary as he revealed a dramatic financial crisis in which the club are 1.35 billion euros in debt.
Roma were in the market for a new striker after selling Edin Dzeko to Internacional, who signed the Bosnian after allowing Romelu Lukaku to join Chelsea for £97.5 million and have won the race for Abraham after fending off competition from Arsenal. The 23-year-old has been allowed to leave his boyhood club after playing only 17 minutes in the final 3 months of last season under Thomas Tuchel. Abraham found himself on the sidelines after Tuchel replaced Frank Lampard as Chelsea's manager, although the forward still finished as the club's top scorer with 12 goals. The forward had 2 years left on his deal, and his departure was inevitable following Lukaku's return to Stamford Bridge.
Abraham, who completed his £34 million move to Roma after finding himself surplus requirements at Chelsea. And now back to the story about Lionel Messi, with Barcelona's president describing his departure as sad but necessary.
Administration had been forced to seek an €80 million loan in order to pay players as soon as it took over after March's elections, that they have since had to agree another credit of €550 million in order to restructure debts, and that they are in effect bankrupt, with the club's net worth standing at minus €451 million. He laid the blame on the dreadful inheritance from the previous regime and Josep Maria Bartomeu, who he accused of lies and spending too much and at the speed of light. He rejected suggestions that the pandemic is responsible for Barcelona's crisis, calculating its impact to be around €91 million of losses that this year total €481 million.
And tennis star Naomi Osaka has announced that she will donate prize earnings from her next tournament to support relief efforts in Haiti, where a 7.2 magnitude earthquake killed at least 1,297 people over the weekend and injured more than 5,700. Here's more.
Osaka, who is of Haitian and Japanese descent, made the announcement on Twitter on Sunday. The 23-year-old four-time Grand Slam champion will play in the Western and Southern Open in Cincinnati, which begins on Monday. The tournament is expected to award the women's singles winner $255,000 and $220. The runner-up will receive $188,000 and $945. Osaka, seeded number 2 with a BYE into the second round, will be playing her first tournament since the Tokyo Olympics, where she lost in the third round to Marketa Vondrousova.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching and good night.